we bringing in the guests, what topic are we doing it on?
No, I would just say all of them. I say all of them.
All right, welcome to Crossfire Deep Dive. This is your host, Revival. Sitting beside me is Dallas the Savage, and we're here to bring another episode. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first topic is playoff pitcher. Dallas, you want to hit that off?
Yeah, man. So, over here on the NFC side, it's coming down to literally like the very last game to figure out like the full picture for it. With the Falcons and the Bucks playing, which will give us like the final game. But let's go ahead and take it to the AFC side first. Bryce locked up the 1 seed very quickly. Then we got some matchups like we got Wade versus Buffalo, who was the former Saints user, now Broncos user due to some drastic events in chat recently. We got the Jaguars, Ken going against Vincent, which I think is going to be a Ken monster class. And then we got Billa versus the Chargers, man, which I think is going to be a Bean blowout. That's how I pretty much view the AFC picture, man. How about you, Revival?
Well, going back with the Broncos and Chiefs, I think the Chiefs gets frustrated. He's already been expressing his frustration with the ad catches, so I think the Broncos take that one. The Ravens and Jags, I think the Jags proved himself on defense when he played the Packers in Super Bowl that he's able to contain receivers, and since the Ravens kind of only has one receiver, is kind of one-dimensional with that, I think Jags will take the win on that. And then the Chargers and Bills, unfortunately, I got to go with the Chargers even though I'm a Bills fan. I just don't see Bill stopping the Chargers, high-powered offense.
Absolutely.
And then with the NFC, obviously we have the Packers, the Vikings, the Commanders, the Bucks, the Eagles, and then we have those three teams. We have the Lions, the Falcons, and surprisingly the Panthers, which the Panther situation is kind of funny because I was digging into it, the schedule and seeing like how he was even in there because his past, I think the past 5 games, I think he's gotten like a forced loss and like 2 fair sims. So he hasn't really been too communicative. And I know the Saints owner was like kind of like talking trash to him to try to get him to play. So I'm actually surprised he's actually even in the picture and he's not even being consistent on that part. But I think honestly, I think the Lions is going to get in, and I either think the Falcons are probably going to get in based on the Panthers just not being active. Because I think if the Panthers win, I think they get the edge over the Falcons. Have they played head-to-head? Do you know?
The Falcons has the Panthers is basically done for because he lost to Lions and he lost to Falcons.
Oh, okay. Then it looks like it. To my understanding, looking at the standings, I think it was the Lions with 10-7. The Falcons were, I think, 9-7. I think the Panthers were 9-7, and I think the other team below them, I think it was like 8-9, or could have been 9-8. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in front of the game to look, but I think it's something like that. But if it is the case like that, then I think those 2 spots would possibly be locked up. I'm not sure.
So whenever it comes to the 7th seed for the NFC, it's basically down to Atlanta and Tampa Bay in terms of like their head-to-head game. So if the Falcons beats Wada, then Atlanta is in the playoffs because he already has edge over the Lions. However, if Atlanta loses to Ice Water, then Truth holds on to the 7th spot and he's in the playoffs. Everybody else is locked in for sure, though. Like me versus Wada is a locked in game. And Thimp versus Jacob is locked in as well.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I guess that kind of brings us into topic 2, which would be the Falcons versus the Bucks prediction. What is your prediction on this game?
I really want Atlanta to win only because for him to go out the way that he did last season, in terms of having a phenomenal regular season record, being up, I believe, 28-0 or being up 28 points, either 28 or 21 on the Giants and then blowing that lead to then go back the next season when you think you'd be on like a revenge tour and end up missing the playoffs, that's brutal, man. That is absolutely brutal. So I'm picking Atlanta to win just out of you got to fight for your respect sometimes.
Gotcha. I got me. I'm on the other side here. I think the Bucks win. I think they win in a blowout. I think this is another user that's also sort of frustrated, and I think he honestly, if he loses this game, he's obviously going to trade Riddler to get another quarterback. So this might be an actual user that might be reaching for another quarterback in the draft. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's where he's leading to with that situation.
Man, I think he should just write it out with Desmond. He'll get. I know he wants that development. He should probably. I think he'll end up probably getting at the end of this season, even if he doesn't. Just keep going because he's gonna hate it. Just trying to build up another quarterback. For you, Wolf, who do you have winning between the Falcons and the Bucks?
I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons. You said Falcons and Bucks.
Yeah,
Falcons, just because I feel like spoiler. Week 18, last game, win one more, go out with the bang. Falcons. Wait, are you trying to tell me Falcons are in the playoffs? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
if the
Or are you
Falcons
trying to just
wins,
say
he's
win
in the
game?
playoffs.
If the Falcons wins, he's in the playoffs.
Correct.
Oh yeah, I'm going with the Falcons. I'm going with the underdog story here. I'm going with the Falcons. I thought you were just trying to talk about spoiler. That's all. Just trying to ruin momentum. Okay, I believe in the Falcons. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to go with
so we got 2 Falcons and we got 1 Bucks.
Correct.
Now let's get into the fun topic, which is which conference do you think is superior? Now, I'll let you go first.
So last season, I feel like it was pretty. You can make an argument, but I feel like it was pretty comfortable with going with the AFC for last season. Me, Bryce, multiple users, and then during the off season, I was the first person who was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm dipping. And sure enough, Jacob came to the NFC. Then we had team changes in which we added AJ, who had a very underwhelming season. We added Dez. We added, I feel like I missed this. Spider was a new addition as well. And the NFC became basically a hellstorm. Like the NFC, like I said, it's week 18. We don't have a single game, or we don't have we don't have a final spot locked in yet. In the AFC, it seemed like everybody was pretty much clinched by week 11. Like the NFC, every game is a hard game in the NFC. Like if you look at our playoff picture, whenever you look at, obviously, you got Joe at the top. You got the Commanders, who hasn't lost in a very long time. Teams like Icewater, me, the Vikings, like, in truth, it's like, dude, the NFC is very difficult to play with. It's a lot of top offenses and defenses compared to the AFC, where like it's very inconsistent. It's very inconsistent. Like the margin for error in the AFC to me is a lot larger. There's a lot more room for you to like slip up and lose a game compared to the NFC, where it's I'm at 12 wins and I still didn't even feel comfortable that I was going to make the playoffs. And so, to me, I don't think it's really much of a debate personally.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think the NFC has more competition within each other. I don't think there's like a division that you can look in. Besides, I think it's the NFC South. I believe it is.
No, it's the West.
Yeah,
it's the West. It's the West.
You know what I mean? Everything else is like everybody's battling out. Like you have teams like, you know what I mean, that you might have a 10-7 team that might not make it, or and you still have like 12-4. I think 12-4, 12-5 teams that are just fighting, and they're a wild card spot. They're not even like getting home field advantage. Some of the teams are they're not even getting like a first round bye. I think last season it was just AFC all the way, and NFC. You looked at it, it was just Joe running away with it, beating everybody down, and then when those teams switched, it just like it was like almost like a polar flip, and I think you guys have more competition. However, I still think overall, I think that uh, I think the chip is still going to go with the AFC, unless of course a Joe goes on his redemption tour or the Commanders, you know, lets that defense lead the way. I think it's one of those things. I mean, that could go either way, but I don't know. I'm just leaning towards the AFC, and I'm not being biased because I'm an AFC. I just think uh, the Bengals, Bryce has something to prove on that one, and I think he's going to come for his bowl, just because he felt like he got sort of like kicked out on it. You know what I mean? In unfortunate circumstances, and then, but I think with you saying about the whole thing with the standings, I think for you guys in the NFC, you guys don't really have too many opportunities to kind of mess up. With the AFC, I think, like you were saying, I think it was like locked up by week 11, week 12, maybe like week 13. But we had the Broncos' old owner, EDP, I'm going to call him. He was like 6-7, and he was locking in the 7th spot. And there was like a bunch of teams. I think it was myself, the Colts, and I want to say the Jets. Or the Dolphins. That they could easily, like, if we would have went on a 2-game win streak, we could have took that spot. But yeah, I'm still gonna say for competition wise, I think you guys got the edge.
Yeah, the division that kind of is very lackluster, to say the least, is the NFC West. Obviously, 8 wins, a losing record wins you that division, sadly. But like, whenever you think of everybody else, pretty much even people that's going to miss the playoff spot, let's say in theory Dez was to win this game and Atlanta was to win this game, that would be another 2 10+ win teams added, and 2 of those 3 are still going to miss the playoffs. Like, Truth is at 10-7, and he's going to be, if Atlanta was to win, he would be missing out on the playoffs. And the way like NFC is set up is like we got Truth with like 10 wins, and then obviously Atlanta and Panthers currently sitting at 9 with Giants at 8. Giants, and then both the top NFC West guys at 8 wins as well. But then once you go look at the AFC and like just the overall standings, you have all the 10-win teams, so they are all playoff teams. Then after that, it's a very noticeable drop from 10 wins to 7. And then it's like, well, okay, it's a pretty noticeable, tier drop off, I guess you would call it. But for you, Wolf, what do you feel is, the better conference?
Better? Well, if we're talking about who's going to win the Super Bowl, it's definitely going to be AFC. It's going to be AFC over and over. But entertaining, your NFC side is very entertaining. Like, the fact that people still being able to come up close, make it to the playoffs, like Atlanta right now, I'm really focused on Atlanta now. I really hope he wins so I can watch him in the playoffs. But NFC, definitely more entertaining, definitely. But AFC, they're always going to come away with the ball. That's what's going to happen.
So would you argue that the AFC has stronger depth or just top heavy?
Just better players. Just the team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl, that's the team that's going to win. AFC side, that team that makes it to the Super Bowl, that team's to win. That's how I see it. That's just how I see it.
So if you could, like, in theory, let's say somebody like drum blank on his name right now, like Young Money. Somebody like Young Money, somebody like AJ. AJ went 5-11 this year, and probably the toughest division in the entire league. Do you feel like if they were to flip to the AFC side, they still would have struggled just as much, or if not more?
Probably a little bit more.
Okay.
I think it would depend on which division he goes into.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like if he comes to my division, the AFC North, he's getting beat down. He's just gonna look in the off season, start looking at draft picks.
And say their name again, so we know who you're talking to specifically.
See, that's why I do try to
Say their name. Say their name.
Positivity.
I'm just saying, like I feel like if we're talking about the two users that you mentioned, you can pick either or, don't matter. I feel like either one of them, if they came to the AFC North between Ravens and the Bengals, they're literally just gonna beat them down anyway. So they're gonna end up, fighting for the third or fourth place spot. They're not gonna go nowhere. Now, if they go to the AFC East, they might have a little bit more fightable chance, and I would give the edge more to AJ than to Young Money, just because he's more of a defensive guy, and I don't see the Bills or Dolphins giving up their team, so you have the Jets and Patriots. So I know the Patriots owner wants to swap. So if he takes the Patriots defense is old and they're up there in age, and I think they have like a couple good pieces on there, but I don't see him dominating anything with that defense. And if he took the Jets defense, I mean, you do have Sauce Gardner, but I still don't think he would do anything with them. And with AJ, I think if he had maybe the Jets and the way that he likes to run the ball, I think he could do something with them. And again, it'd be it would be his best chance to making the playoffs. Be in that division, I would think. Any other division besides that division, the AFC East, I think he doesn't go anywhere.
So whenever you think, whoa. So like a division like the AFC South, which is, pretty strongly considered, the weakest division in the AFC. And that's what most people would say, because you have Ken, who is obviously Ken is Ken. But after that, it is very... And so somebody like, for instance, I'll put it like this. The NFC West is the worst division in the NFC. However, the top three teams in the NFC West would all still be above everybody not named Ken in the AFC South. And it's like, and you got to think they went through like a hailstorm of a schedule. And yet they're still at 8-9. Whereas AFC South is like, kind of had a cakewalk.
I mean, speaking on that, I mean, if we want to talk about the AFC South, I do remember recalling a game, and we're kind of going to walk right into the next topic with this one, but I do recall a game where he played the Jaguars, the Titans owner, and he could have won the game. So, I mean, anybody in there can beat Ken if they play, they play the game the right way. So, I mean, I don't think that division is as easy as the records make it look.
So, because I know y'all wanted to rave about the Ravens. Y'all saying Ravens and that. Whoa! Time out. You said, oh, if AJ or if some of these other guys were to go to the AFC North, it would be a
no. Don't twist the words around there, buddy. Don't twist the words around. We said we were talking about Young Money and AJ. We were talking about two users. Yes, we were talking about two users. We're talking about the 49ers user. We're talking about the Bears user.
49ers and Bears.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who has a worse record than Young Money, who is the Rams, Estrada. No beef, Estrada. You just, you're 6-10 for a reason, or 7-10 now. I actually take that back. Like, he just beat the Ravens. Like, are y'all really feared outside of, like, there's Bryce. Like, AFC, everybody knows there's Bryce. And then the Ken Super Bowl was a surprise. So, but we can truly say, like, there's Bryce. But after Bryce, it's like everybody kind of feels confident going up against the AFC. Me personally, I feel confident going against all. But, like, after Bryce, I would say, like,
No,
I mean,
I don't. I don't go.
We saw what Bryce did to Ken.
I don't agree with that because you still have Ken. You still got to give him his respect. He's Super Bowl winner. Doesn't matter how he did it, what he did. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You got to give respect to the Bengals user because he's not one-sided on offense. He can run the ball and he can pass the ball. Then you got the Chiefs when he's locked in. He's you know what I mean. He's a top-tier user. Then you have the Chargers who came out from last season. That took the team, I think, late in the season and really didn't have a shot, but he was making a run at it. The Chargers user now, I mean, with the team he's got, I mean, he's a top user as well. And the Bills, like I said, when he's locked in, he can play well. He can compete with most people. You know what I mean? There's really no. I mean, if you look at the top 6 teams, top 7 teams on each side, you could pair them up against each conference, and you could say, okay, yeah, this user will beat this user. Which is why I always say until something happens, I feel like the Super Bowl is going to come to the AFC.
So, do you feel like does it hold weight to you knowing that teams who aren't even able to make the playoffs in the NFC can beat the guy who win the AFC? Like, does that hold weight to you in any way or no?
I think
Like Dez put work in. Like it was a stomping what he gave to Ken. It was a late game stomping, but it was a stomping. Like, and Dez is not going to be in the playoffs this season. But
there's always situations like that where there's team. I mean, look at the Bears. The Bears beat what? The Packers.
Correct.
I mean,
that's NFC on NFC crime.
And
we're just at elite.
I know, but I'm saying like that's the worst user in there. So I mean, you can't really compare. Whoa. That like standing wise, that's the worst user in that division, right? I think there's nobody below him.
And that's also the best division where like you needed 14 wins minimum to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So imagine if we put him and we put him in the AFC North.
Okay.
Same thing would happen. You know what I mean? It would be nothing different. You know what I mean? He might be third place. He might beat me because he beat me before, but other than that, he's still going to be, you know what I mean? I think there's some people on the NFC East NFC that could come to the AFC and could make it a little bit more more competition. But I just think with the way certain teams are, and I think there's only really room for like AFC East. And I guess if you want to take one of those teams in the AFC South and try to build them up, you can. But those are just tough teams to take. I mean, and then with the Panthers user, I mean, if Dez would have got an AFC team, let's just say, I don't know. Let's just say he would have gotten the Broncos. I think he could have done something with them, but do I think he would have beat anybody like any of the top users that we're predicting to win the bowl or to get to the championship? Probably not.
And who was that? You said if they would have got the Broncos again?
Dez. If Dez would have got the Broncos, I think Dez makes a run. He makes a, you know what I mean? I think he at least maybe gets to the division or maybe to the conference, maybe, depending on how the seeding goes, of course.
So so who was an AFC user? We're going to exclude our top guys, standings wise. So, I'm going to exclude Joe. You would exclude Bryce. How many users in the AFC could you confidently say would win the NFC if they were over there? If you remove Joe and you remove Bryce from each side, how many guys do you feel like could flip conferences and win?
I think with the way the Ravens team builds and the way he trade rapes, I think the Ravens would be, he would be a top tier user. I mean, because he's not bad. It's not like he sucks. You know what I mean? He's still a good user. He just got an overpowered offense, and he can literally just tap a button and DK can come down with it. And I think the Chargers, I think he's a good user regardless. You know what I mean? I think he can go to any of those divisions and he can compete. But I do have to say this, though, and maybe I guess that can be debatable in both conferences. Let's just say we took the top 4 users, right? Standings-wise, if you want to do it. and we took them
Okay.
and we gave them non X Factor quarterbacks. How many
Correct.
do you think? How many do you think of those teams would actually even be in the playoffs? Because like the X factor, like the abilities, I wasn't sold on it at first, but then when I started seeing like the Vikings, when he took got Tom Brady and he used him and like what I mean, it wasn't like he was a bad user, but I'm saying the way he's able to take um his playing level to like the next level and being able to compete and be able to play with top tier teams. Like which team do you think like would not benefit for having an X factor quarterback? Because I think a couple in the AFC wouldn't either. I think they would struggle with not having an X factor quarterback.
Well, NFC wise, I know NFC wise, only 3 of the playoff teams have a quarterback with abilities, which would be Joe Ungwe and Jacob. I think a person that would hurt the most from abilities would personally be. I think it would for NFC. I think it would hurt Joe the most, only because like whenever you think of like his play style, like he has fearless. He has. I'm trying to think of the other. He has fearless. He has bazooka. Like he has everything pretty much the pass lead elite. So it's like I would be very like I'm Joe's like one person I would just be so interested to see what they would look like had they had a very below average quarterback, I would say. Um oh my bad, Joe Sism. Wise say trust me, if you don't give Vincent an X Factor quarterback, I don't think Vincent's a playoff user at all. I think Wade would still be good. Billa would still be good. Bean would still be good. I think Bean would still be good because of the reads he makes. So I feel like
Yeah.
mainly for them, like they make smarter reads, but I would be interested to see mainly with Joe because a lot of his offense is based around those abilities.
I mean, I guess I would like to see that just to see that because I wouldn't know. I mean, it does sound believable to say that like, yeah, Joe didn't have Aaron Rodgers, X factor quarterback, wouldn't be doing so well, but we don't know. I mean, because some people could have said, oh well, said about the Bengals user, hey, if you didn't have Burrows, you wouldn't be doing good. And look, you took Kyler Murray, and he's still playing, phenomenal with them. So, I don't know about with Joe, and then with the Ravens user, I think he would probably try to find a scrambling quarterback so he can constantly do that read option. I don't think the abilities thing really is like a deal breaker with him. Those are only 2 guys I can think of, like right off the bat. Like I would say, like would kind of like not be a big deal or would be a big deal. And then I would say if the Vikings didn't have Tom Brady, they would have had that quarterback that they think they had. I forgot who it was, but they made some trade and they got some quarterback. I was like before he got Tom Brady, and I'm like if he has
Mm-hmm.
him, he's not going to go anywhere with him. And then he got Tom Brady, and then that's why I said like the whole abilities thing is such a difference maker, especially if you have like fearless and you have deep threat, and then you have like there's a couple other abilities on there that that make a difference. And that's not even including the X Factor ability. But yeah, I would be pretty interested to see like if Joe could play with a regular quarterback, and because if he can do it with a regular quarterback, then he can be hands down, best user at NFC. If he can do it with a regular quarterback, with like I don't know, with a rookie from wherever, whatever quarterback that comes out, the best quarterback out of the draft class. If he could do that with that team, with that quarterback, with the team he has, I think then no one really could challenge him as far as offensively, as far as what he can do during the regular season, of course.
Question, Wolf, for you, which user do you think would take the biggest plunge if they didn't have a quarterback with abilities?
I played Joe so many times, and I say every single time I play him, if he didn't have abilities, I feel like even I could beat him. I really do. So I say Joe. Yeah.
Okay, Wolf. All right, and before we go to the next topic, I guess I'll ask out which user do you think would benefit the most from a quarterback with abilities? I'll go first. Personally, I think if you were to give somebody, I'm not gonna say myself, but I'll say if you gave somebody like D'Angelo a quarterback with those abilities, like if D'Angelo had somebody like Burrow or Allen, I think he would be a legit force to be reckoned with because he doesn't like his scheme wise. He doesn't have a bad scheme at all. It's just he doesn't have somebody that can execute what he wants to do, so it kind of hurts him.
Okay. What do you think, Wolf? What do you think would benefit?
I know I would. So hey, since I'm here now, if anyone has an ability quarterback, please give them to me. That's all I gotta say. I would benefit from it. I would. I would. Hit me up. Hit me up, please.
And then as far as myself, what team I feel like would be, I don't know about what the AFC. I don't know if anybody would be any difference maker, like as far as anybody in there. Maybe Dolphins. If he had,
Okay.
if Tua was an X factor, an X factor ability, I think then he could, make those throws that can't unfortunately do with Tua. And then an NFC, I think if Dez had an X factor quarterback with abilities, the way he plays, I think he could make a push. Also, the Giants users too. I'll piggyback on that. I think he could definitely, with the way he has Saquon running the ball, I think he definitely could make a push if he had X factor quarterback. I also think too. I think there's good users in divisions. I just think they're just paired in unfortunate situations.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? I think like because there's some divisions that you look at and you're just like, yep, they're gonna win it every single season. Doesn't matter, like someone does something different, or they're different events, or I don't know, there's a injury or something like that. Like you always look at certain divisions like that, and then you look at certain teams and you're like, man, if we could put you in the division, you play this way, you could maybe make the wild card, or maybe you could win the division. And it's just like, some users are just put in a shitty situation with a shitty team. And that's why I think if some of these users stay, and they stay the full course and get to Madden 24, and they're able to actually get, an average team, I think those users, if they put themselves in a winnable division, I think get into the playoffs. It's just, it kind of sucks for some people in certain divisions. Like with my division, unless you're beating the Ravens and Bengals, you're not making the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. And then if you go if you're in the NFC North, unless you're beating the Bears and Vikings, you're not going anywhere either. You know what I mean? Like it's just like a unfortunate situation.
Yeah, man, for sure. I guess they can go to the next topic, and I'll let you go and take the lead on this one. Who, for you, is the users to watch out for? Like, who is the top user to watch out for? I guess you can go either in general or pick one from each side for this upcoming postseason.
I'm gonna go, and I just talk shit about them, but I'm gonna go with on the AFC. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think I will say this. I'll make a bold prediction. If the Ravens gets past the Jaguars and the Bengals are eliminated somehow, I think the Ravens goes to the bowl if he beats the Jaguars. But the Bengals will have to be eliminated by some, unfortunate reason. But I still feel like he's still user to watch out for because, again, until someone figures out how to stop DK Metcalf from, whether you want to call it ag catching, rocket catching, whatever the hell you want to call it, the man is catching the ball sometimes over 2 to 3 defenders. And even when you're using it, using the safety to cover over top, it's still a challenge. And then I think the Packers, is another team to watch for. I think he's also on a revenge tour. And I think he has like a sort of like a redemption thing going on. I think he wants to win the bowl, just kind of like, shut everybody up. And I think he had a nice big slice of humble pie last season when he lost to the Jags. So I think he's going to be a little bit more humble, but I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive too in the playoffs.
This article was honestly kind of interesting to me because it was like there's top users where it's like really depending on how you look at it, they got something to prove. Like Bryce wants to prove, like, yeah, that little Ken run last year, he only got it because I wasn't there. Joe also needs to prove, like, hey, I'm not this regular season warrior. Like I'm him. But honestly, I'm gonna go with because I can even argue myself in a way because I haven't won a playoff game since last Madden. I'm gonna say the Commanders. The Commanders has been on a tear, man, and I don't think he's lost a game since like week 5. And I think the Commanders like getting heat. Last year he hated Kyler Murray. Like it is very well known. Oh, and besides Commanders, they lose this week. My bad. But before this week, he hadn't lost in like forever. He hadn't lost since week 4. The Commanders hadn't lost since week 4 prior to this week. But he got Aaron Donald. He got his quarterback. He has, Scary Terry and a couple of, decent receivers, not the best, but, decent guys. But they get the job done. And I think the Commanders is one of those guys where if he plays his game and he doesn't get, he doesn't fall behind the ball and he can like kind of play aggressive and play with a lead, he's going to be a problem for everybody. Obviously, I know myself. I am not trying to play the Commanders. I really do not feel like playing the Commanders. I know he doesn't want to play Joe though, so it's like. But the Commanders is to me the guy from the NFC who I feel like if he locks in and plays efficient football, he can legit make a run at it all. From the AFC side, the guy with the most to prove is the guy who's also been suspended previously this season, and that is Bean. Bean, there was a lot of hype on Bean going into this season. Last year he was like, hey, I had to just get a good draft pick. This year he's been he was on a tear to start the season. He had like a bit of a roadblock with the Herbert suspension. And now I feel like he's going to try and, pick things up to go into the playoffs. And if anybody's going to beat Bryce, my top pick would be Bean. It's not a confident pick, but would be my pick. And I would say either Bean or the Ravens can possibly do it. But I don't think him just force-feeding DK would be the way to do it, even though he has stated, hey, once I get to playoffs, I'm not going to do this little DK force-feeding. Y'all know it. I'm going to spread the ball out. Which, yes, smart sounds a lot smarter. But I don't know if Vincent is a smart guy. So, I don't know if he can really make those reads and hit guys. So, I mean, it sounds good, but will it really work? That's, to be seen. Like, if he goes down 10, if he goes down, by more than 3, is he going to be like, all right, let me get the ball to DK and like force feed and throw a pick. So, that's kind of like the wait and see. Like he has the offensive juggernauts to be unstoppable, but will he do it? We gotta wait and see. Wolf, man, who for you? Who's somebody that's to worry about?
NFC side, if I'm correct, Jacob did win most disappointing player, right? Jacob?
Last season, I
Last
believe
season,
Jacob
yeah.
did.
Yeah,
And
he did
look,
win the most disappointing.
look at him now. Doing amazing. I think he's the guy. He is the guy in the NFC side. I believe in him. I switched teams with him. He did what I was hoping to do. Switch teams, make it to the playoffs. He did it. So I believe in him. AFC side, I'm just gotta go with Legend. I believe it. I no doubt in Legend. I always believe in Legend. So Legend is a dangerous man. I've played him plenty of times. Yeah, Legends are gonna make that run in the playoff.
If y'all had to pick a user to get upset at first round, who would it be? If you had to pick somebody most likely to get upset,
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay.
Kansas City.
Gosh, I would say.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to.
I'm back. My bad. I had. It's a business call. My bad. What did I miss?
You were picking
Oh, my
a
bad.
team.
Because I was saying for NFC, I said most likely the biggest upset. I can see myself beating Water. And personally, I do feel like I have the best odds to beat Joe of anybody in the NFC. So I would be like my own personal like dark horse. But that's I don't like talking about myself really. I'm a very humble human being.
Now, to go back in memory lane, last time you predicted yourself, I think you ended up cursing yourself in the playoffs because I felt like you should have made it, at least to the chip or at least to the conference championship. Do you think now you feel like you don't want to sort of put like a bullseye on you?
I will say like last season, I remember whenever I played Wade, like I knew, like I only saw like of Wade playing the who did he play? TKLs. But I did not know until like recently, like Wade was that guy like a Madden or two ago. And he was like legit like a Super Bowl winner, like back to back. So I just like assumed like Wade was a decent player. So I kind of came in like very like, non caring. And like things happened during that game where like I kind of made dumb decisions. But I would say with this season, I feel more confident in my team compared to last season. It's just like it's gonna come down to the same thing. Whereas Tua sold me some throws, which costed me the game. Zach Wilson, you cannot do the same. Like that's legit. All it's gonna be based upon is me making sure like I play the game, smoothly. That's all. But I feel pretty good.
So
I
do you
would.
think? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like I feel pretty confident against anybody but Commanders. Yeah, I'd say I feel confident against anybody but Commanders.
You think so? You think with that team you would be able to beat Joe?
Oh yeah. If I beat him with the Dolphins, I feel better about beating him with the Eagles. He doesn't have the threat of obviously like Tyreek and Waddle that I have with the Dolphins. But I mean, we got the remedy over here. We got the game plan to beat Joe. Like It's not hard. I'm trying to tell y'all in chat. It is not hard to beat Joe. It's just you do it. Like you literally just do it. Just do what I did. Do what Ken does. Like just run the ball and don't get beat deep. Like it's kind of very simple. Like legit, very simple.
You or you did pick somebody, Wolf, right?
Pick for the people to watch.
I believe that's what we were in the topic, right?
Oh yeah, he picked Ravens.
Yeah.
He said the Chiefs was going to get upset.
Okay. And then, yeah, like I said, I think I picked the Ravens and the Packers. The team to watch out for in the playoffs. And that's just because, like I said, what they're able to do on the offensive side. All right, so we can go into topic 5, which is our good old fun come on man. I'll let you lead it off this time because I did it last week or last show. I'll let you lead it off, Dallas.
Let me go pull up. Don't start it yet, Jagoda, man. I gotta pull up the strings so I can watch. All right, I'm ready.
Wait. Let me get to it. I gotta see this one. Okay, I'm good.
I feel like we're playing old school, right around 50%. Yeah, he's under 50%. He needs to start getting more targets.
Yeah, first up, we got the Giants. They throwing the ball deep to Colin Johnson. Butterfingers drops it. Hey, bail me out. Come on, man. With the next clip, we got the Thimpapotamus versus the Browns. We got a pick to PS2. He picks the ball up. Pitches it. For what reason? We don't know why. Browns picks the ball up. Fumbles it as well. Fumbles the back. Penalty on the ground. Picks the fumble up. Touchdown. Thimp. Sends them to the playoffs. Next up, who do we have? We got Wolf with the field goal.
You dumbass!
Come on, man. What are you doing? It's a field goal. It's a field goal.
About to win.
Come on, man.
I missed it. Wow.
Next up,
No, I missed it.
Again. Goal. And what does he do? He misses the field goal to win the game.
Oh boy!
Wolf going Wolf.
Boy!
He can win any game unless he has to kick it.
Wow!
Come on. Wolf, we have you live and in effect. We have you here, Wolf, right? We have you. Are you still here? Are you still alive?
I'm still here. I had to
Wolf.
take a moment. I had to take a moment.
Wolf, explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Let me tell you. The first one, I kicked it a little bit too fast, so you want to call timeout? Boom. Just too fast. I was just too quick with it, minor mistake. We had him next time. Now, the other one, that one was just sad. Heartbreaking. So heartbreaking. A little centimeter off. Ruined the whole kick. Broke my heart.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought you made the Jaguars. I thought you made that kick with the Jaguars because it was like an inch away, and the wind was going to the right.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, hey, I knew it. I knew it deep down in my heart. I'm gonna have to just get in the practice, get on the field, practice my kicks. Next season we go 100% with kicks. That's all I gotta say. Next season, 100% with kicks.
All right, clip it.
Clip it. We're not gonna be on come on man no more with the kicks. No more.
No more. You sure you weren't mad on that first kick you missed to go into overtime? You sure you weren't mad at a fan out there? You sure you weren't trying to kick him in his face with the ball?
Man, I wish I was.
That ball wasn't even close. That shit was going out of the server.
Comical. I wasn't even mad at it anymore. It was just a comedy show. I had my best friend Jagoda with me, laughing. We had a blast.
Wolf, man, Wolf. So obviously, thankfully, Jagoda didn't have enough time to, put my kick in there. Thankfully, because hey, I did the same exact thing today. I was at like the 9-yard line, field goal. That field goal would have sent Young Money to Cancun and put them in the playoffs, and I missed it. It was like a 20-yard field goal. So trust me, man. Hey, I feel your pain, but I would never do it that soon again.
Man, like I said, we're gonna get on the field. We're gonna practice that. We're gonna practice makes perfect. We got this. It's not gonna happen anymore.
Okay, we count on you now.
We're gonna clip it. We're gonna count on you next season. Make all the kicks.
We will. As well, when I'm putting in the playoffs, we're gonna talk about Wolf in the playoffs with 100% field goal rating.
That's all. No.
Wolf going to the playoffs. He said he's knocking out Ken.
Yes, sir. We doing it all.
Okay, now. Hey, look, man. Hey, I like the confidence.
Thank you. And I'm sitting here getting beat right now with this confidence.
I think Jagoda over there spiking drinks over there to our guests.
Hey. So
just wait and see. Next season, y'all see me.
So if I'm gonna be
rooting for you. Especially being the underdog. I'm gonna root for you.
So
we can take this turn.
For y'all, can I get one last playoff prediction? Can we get conference winner and Super Bowl prediction from all three of y'all? From both of y'all. Since y'all are outsiders, I'm an insider. I will refrain.
Okay, so conference winner, AFC side. I'm gonna have to give it to the Bengals. I want Ravens to win, but I'm gonna have to give it to the Bengals. NFC side, I really do believe in the Jacob story. I believe in Jacob will be there. He will be in the. I believe in him. All this way. He can do it. But winner of the Super Bowl, Bengals.
By how much?
I think it's going to be a blowout.
Oh, you don't think Jacob is good enough to compete with Bryce at all?
No, I think Bryce, he's been waiting for this too long. He already has everything ready. I think Bryce blows him out the water.
Okay.
Or whoever he plays. I just know Bryce is going to be in that Super Bowl.
Who does Bryce beat to go to the Super Bowl?
Do I really want no? Because you have to play the Ravens earlier. That's it.
Just who do you think is the second best? Just who do you think?
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. That's what I'm thinking. Jacksonville.
Okay, so you got Bryce beating Ken to go to the Super Bowl, then Bryce blowing out Jacob. Okay. Revival, what is your playoff prediction? Conference
Right. So I have.
Who do you have winning? Who do you have Jacob beating on the NFC side to go to the Super Bowl?
Oh, Jacob ain't he ain't going.
Oh,
He's not going to Super Bowl. He's going to be in Cancun with the rest of us. We're going to save him a seat. We're going to call it the Jacob seat. It's going to be ready reserved for him. We're going to go with I'm going to go with the Commanders going to Super Bowl. We're going to go with them. And we're going to go with them as long as they make it to the conference championship. And if they can make it to the conference championship, I think it'll be him versus Joe. And I think he'll win probably by a point or a field goal. It'll be something. Something crazy will happen on defense that'll favor the Commanders. If the Commanders do not make it past the wild card or divisional, then I'm going to have to go with Joe. No disrespect to anybody in the NFC. I'm just going to have to go with Joe just because his offense is just – I don't think there's really too many defenses on the NFC side that either A, can apply enough pressure to not let him have those routes develop, or B, have the corners to be able to compete with his receivers. And then for the AFC, we're going to go with the Broncos, losing in the playoffs, of course. But the Super Bowl winner on that side, I think, or the Super Bowl winner is going to be the Bengals. And I just don't see anybody beating him. And maybe the Jags, if he plays the same way he played against Joe, I think maybe then he'll squeak by. However, if I could request, if I could write the script up right now and Jagoda can put it in place and have it be, sent in, I would like to have a Jaguars versus the Packers Super Bowl rematch. That's what I would like to see, because that right there, that would be, I feel like that would be the game. Maybe not the user versus user, like how, the most best users, you know what I mean, on the AFC and NFC, like that type of thing, but it definitely would be sort of like a rematch bowl. And I feel like that, I would want to see that, just because I would want to see whether, Joe gets his redemption or not against the person that beat him last year, or if Ken, beats him again and then breaks Joe's heart. Joe goes crying in the car. What about you, Dallas? What's your predictions?
I'll give a biased prediction for this one. I will say, trying to think of how it would play out in the playoffs. Give me a second. I could see, because I would have to beat Joe's second round. So it would be me versus, man, that would be hell. Me versus Commanders in either NFC Championship, or me versus Jacob in NFC Championship, in which I would have to win. And then I would end up playing Bryce, which would be a rematch to last Madden of my first season of Crossfire. Or, I'm non-biased, I could see us getting a Game of the Year rematch, which would be Bryce versus Joe in the Super Bowl. I just don't have faith. But if I was to pick somebody to beat Bryce, like I said, it would be Chargers. Says he will smoke Bryce, though. That is the thing. Wade is very confident about him beating Bryce, to where it's like, hey, this man might be cooking with something. I don't know if he knows anything that we don't. But Wade has been very, very vocal on him being able to beat Bryce very comfortably. And the new Broncos user, I believe, has also been very confident talking in chat. I believe. I want to say no, that was Jets. Never mind. Take that back. So that's how I look at it. Which, if Joe was to play Bryce, I think Joe caught fire late in their game, and I think he'll use that momentum to propel him to beating Bryce finally in the Super Bowl. Which, if Joe is to beat Bryce in the Super Bowl, Jesus, that post-Super Bowl interview is going to be something legendary to tune into. Pray for us all. Pray for
I
us
have
all.
some that I have some to add to that, and it's not even on the topic for it. But I want to get an answer from you guys. If you could pick the most surprising Super Bowl between two users from each conference, what two teams would you pick? That would be the Super Bowl.
Like a logical pick or an unlogical pick? Like
either or. Give me a logical one and give me an unlogical one.
So, to me, the weirdest Super Bowl we could possibly get out of all these teams, and which I think would end up being a funny Super Bowl. I don't know why, but the new Broncos user versus Stimp in the Super Bowl would be weird as hell. And then from a skill standpoint, I would say Commanders, or no, actually take it back. Jacob is interesting. I will probably, I'm gonna say this is gonna be tough. Jacob versus Vincent to me would be an interesting Super Bowl because there would be so many deep passes in that game. It would be stupid. Either Jacob and Vincent or Commanders and Ken. I think that would be a very interesting Super Bowl.
So which one would be your unlogical pick?
But the one that makes no sense as to them both making it would be Thimp and the new Broncos user. Oh, actually, Icewater versus Billa to me would also be an interesting game. Icewater versus Billa would be interesting. I don't know. I would just be very interested to see how that would play out.
All right. What about you, Wolf?
I'm back. My fault.
No, you're good. Which logical pick out of these teams in the AFC and NFC in the playoffs would you pick, an unlogical pick,
just
teams that
random?
nobody would pick? Yeah, no one would pick to be in Super Bowl.
Okay, a team. I'm gonna go with my unlogical first. Cowboys and Colts. Yeah, that napalm and my father in the Super Bowl. Random. It would be interesting, and I believe the Colts will win that. Unlogical, and then logical. Billa and Icewater. Billa and Icewater. I would love to see them play.
All right. I'll go with out of the playoff teams that we have right now. I'm going to pick out of those teams. So out of these teams, I would say we'll say our unlogical one. We'll say the Broncos versus the Eagles.
Oh,
we'll say it's my unlogical pick. And then for a logical one, but not really the team that I would think would be there, I would say the Bills and the Commanders. I think it would be more surprising with the Bills just because he's got a lot of teams he's got to beat. He's got a lot of teams he's got to beat through, and I mean, even though for the Commanders it's not no cakewalk either, but I think the Bills and Commanders would be I don't want to say a weird Super Bowl, but it would just be a surprising Super Bowl out of these teams that are in.
Hey, I just gotta say real quick. My fault. The last question. I didn't know we were going off the Super Bowl with the unlogical things. My fault.
You're good. You're good.
I'm sitting here trying to play the Madden game.
No, you're all right. You're all good. So I know we didn't really have a questionnaire thing for you guys. Usually we have one for the guests, but we kind of, with all these topics that we had in place, we really didn't have anything going. So I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, and I don't know if Dallas wants to chime in and ask you a couple of questions as little bit earlier, podcast than usual. Usually we start at 9 and it starts heading into like 10:30ish. With the team now, obviously, you're going to be in the off season. Is there anybody in particular that you're targeting, or positions that you're targeting, maybe in the draft, or maybe that you think that could maybe push you to be competitive for next season?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Me? I go with, like I said, I'm going with the running back. I need a running back really bad. J.K. Dobbins he's been failing me a lot lately with the fumbles, et cetera, et cetera. Last minute quarters, he's been choking for me a lot. So I know for a fact this season definitely want to either draft a running back or pick up a running back. And then I'm looking for an outside linebacker. I'm going to find an outside linebacker somewhere. And then, yeah, that's where that's where I'm at right now. Running back and outside linebackers.
And then my next question: if you got to pick a team right now to trade, any team, which team would you trade with and why?
Like full teams, like I leave the Titans. Well,
yeah, like you leave the Titans and you just leave that roster how it is, and you take whatever team you want.
Man, I'm about to go with the Bengals. I would love to take the Bengals for Bryce. I would love that. Have Jamar Chase grittying everywhere. Yeah.
What about you, Dallas? You got any questions, or you can even ask you, what team would you pick if you could switch?
Oh, if I could switch with anybody, then I would switch with the Ravens, only because the Ravens have not been treated right since I've been in Crossfire. It's been a very underperforming team.
When you say underperformance, what do you mean? You mean not utilizing Lamar the way we all think he should be used, or?
Like, they, success-wise, they just haven't done anything since I've been in the league. Like, I know, here we go. I know he's going to comment in the chat. Joe's going to be like, oh, I won a Super Bowl with them. Like, bro, nobody remembers that season. Like, it's crazy. The Ravens just have not done anything. Like, I personally feel if I have the Ravens, especially with Lamar, like, thinking a cycle, let's say if we were to do like 7 seasons and I had the Ravens, I feel like I'm probably going to win like 4. Like, legit. Like, the Ravens are so easy to use. Just continue to fail and they, be weird. That's really it. Either Ravens or, I know to start the cycle, I really wanted the Chiefs, but I couldn't get the Chiefs. Chiefs and Cowboys was like teams that I was really interested in. The 49ers, I would have liked had I had CMC. They didn't, want, trade wasn't approved. The one that just happened in real life, like right after I got the team. It's whatever. That's really it though. Until we see where rookies end up at. But Wolf, man, I heard you say you need a running back.
Yes,
have you ever thought about considering trading for a kicker with like the ability, like, you know what I'm saying, like Justin Tucker?
Man, I already tried to get Tucker, man. It's just not going through. I just can't get through with them. I offered everything, so I just training. That's all I can do right now. I just gotta get better by myself. I might draft one. Might draft a kicker. Boom.
You a 99 kick power kicker out there.
Hopefully. We'll find them.
But yeah, if you need a running back, Najee Harris's on trade block.
Hey, I might hit you up later. I might. Just know.
All right. Sounds good. And then as for myself, as far as what team I would pick, I just would I would pick the Bills just because it's my hometown team, and I would like to play with them. I did have a chance to play with them before our forgotten, beloved Harry Potter character Arn left. I love that team. They just had so many great pieces to play with. But Dallas, you got any more questions for our guest, or?
Nah, man, that's all. Only thing I just got advice for Wolf, man. Like I said, just like Wolf is so weird because like he has the right game plan to beat any of the top users, and he will get stumped, but he can also beat anybody just because of how weird he wants to play. So I would just say commit to your invest in offensive line, invest in a running back, turn shoe clock on.
Yes, sir.
And go get you a kicker.
Man, I will.
Great. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think that concludes the end of our show. Thanks for coming on the show, Wolf. We appreciate it. We appreciate you donating your 2 clips to the Come On Man, part of the show. I mean, couldn't have did that part of the segment of the show without you. And then for anybody else out there that's tuned in, if you want to come on the show, DM me or Dallas or Jagoda and come on the show. Don't be scared. We ain't gonna ask you anything too crazy. I mean, I know it is the postseason. For everybody that's made the postseason, congratulations, good luck. Hope you guys make it to Super Bowl. Remember, 1 game at a time. And that's it. Be closing out, and see you guys next time.